Greetings and welcome to a special edition of The Fan Perspective. I am your host Nathan Lyle here to present my mid-season power rankings for the WNBA. And these power rankings have less to do with the team's record than it does the team's performance over these past few weeks. And first of all, these are my opinions. Feel free to disagree with me. And if you do, tell me why. Because I'm a huge fan of suspense, we're going to walk away from the bottom up, slow reveal to the number one. So we'll start with number 12, and I have the Connecticut Sun. The reason for this is that Connecticut, at times they've played decently well, but it seems like as a whole team, they aren't much of a contest. Tina Charles should make it difficult for opposing teams, but teams are keying in on her, and she's not getting much help from the role players around her. So right now, they are the worst seeded team in the Eastern Conference, and to be honest, it's hard for me to see that changing too much over the course of the second half of the season, especially with the level of competition that they're facing off against. Number 11 is the San Antonio Silver Stars. They went into the season knowing Sophia Young would be out, and then Becky Hammond ends up only playing a total of 12 minutes this season. They have obviously struggled without their leaders on the floor. They've got some good young playmakers, and they've got a great head coach. At times, they are a respectable threat, but over the course of an entire season, it's hard to imagine them fighting their way into the postseason right now. Number 10 is the Seattle Storm. Despite the loss of their biggest stars, they've played well this year and are currently a playoff-bound team. They've got a great head coach, great veteran leadership. They have gotten off to a great start this season. They are definitely in the mix, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did hang on to that playoff spot, but I also wouldn't be shocked if they did manage to get bumped off, because in the Western Conference, outside of the top three, everything is fair game right now. That fourth spot is completely up for grabs. At number 9, I put the New York Liberty. They've had their moments, but to be honest, if it wasn't for the fact that I greatly respect Bill Laimbeer, they would be ranked a little bit lower than this. They've been too inconsistent, and while they can beat the great teams in the league, they've also had some tough losses to teams they should easily have beaten, and it's hard to trust a team that doesn't consistently take care of business. Number 8, the Washington Mystics. With Mike Thibault as the head coach, it's hard to imagine this team not making the playoffs. They've got some key pieces in place, and they've played very well in spurts. They don't necessarily scare me right now, but they definitely have a good core and are a team worth paying attention to. Number 7, I have the Tulsa Shock. I had very little respect and very low expectations for this team at the start of the year. They have played extremely well this past week, and with that dynamic duo of Cambage and Johnson, I could believably see them continuing to play better in the second half now that they know what they have, know how to use it. I believe this is a team that has the weapons that they can make a push for that postseason. They do have a tough schedule, plenty of good opponents that they have to overcome. I'm choosing to put faith in them just because they've got a lot of potential, and I liked what I saw over the weekend. Next, you have the Atlanta Dream. They got off to an amazingly hot start, but just got over a relatively long losing streak. They are one of only 2 teams still undefeated at home, and they are getting over a few injuries. They played great defense, and they've got plenty of explosive playmakers. I think that absolute worst case scenario, they should still finish top 3 in the Eastern Conference. That's absolutely worst case scenario. They've still got more than a good shot of being first place overall if a couple of things go their way. Number 5, the Phoenix Mercury. Brittany Griner has had a big presence, and I feel like they are a better team with her. But this is Diana Taurasi's team, and they've had recent struggles, but there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that this is a playoff team, because any team that has Diana Taurasi leading it is automatically championship contender material. Number 4 is the Indiana Fever. Despite their poor records, this team looks pretty amazing right now. Injuries have played a huge part in their slow start, but they've gotten healthier and have fought their way back into the playoff race despite still missing some people. And as the season progresses, I expect them to get healthier and continue playing better every game. Number 3, the Los Angeles Sparks. Candace Parker is at the top of her game, and she's got plenty of talent around her. They struggled on the road to start the season, but seem to have found their rhythm. They have a ton of players, any of which can step up and lead them in any given night. With all of these different weapons that they have, Tolliver, Necker, Parker, Beard, it's pretty much just pick your poison against them. At number 2, I have the Chicago Sky. Delle Donne is the truth. She has been amazing so far in her short career, and even though as of recording this I have no news regarding her recent injury, according to reports she suffered a concussion, and those can be tricky. She might not miss any time at all. If she does miss major time, it could change the way the teams play the Sky, but I think they'll be alright. Prince is an all-star this year. Vandersloot and Cash have been there before, not to mention Sylvia Fowles, who is not only an all-star reserve this year, but is also having a career season and is making her own case to possibly be an MVP candidate. And that leaves our number 1 spot, which, in case you haven't figured it out already, it's the Minnesota Lynx. It's not hard to see why I would rank them number 1. 4 of their starters could easily be considered MVP candidates. This is a team that has dominated from the start of the season. They've been number 1 in the West all year long and a top 3 team in the league all season. They currently have the best record in the league and are riding a 7-game winning streak. They are also one of only 2 teams still undefeated at home on the season. So those are my midseason power rankings, and I pretty much did those just based on which team would scare me the most if I had to play against them. As I said before, feel free to disagree with me, and feel free to tell me why you disagree with me, because I love getting into arguments. Now don't get crazy. I'm not going to re-record this video with different rankings just because you said so. This video is always going to stay here like this, but that doesn't mean you can't change my mind. I'm just not going to re-record a whole different video for that. I've actually had people request that, and that's just ludicrous. Not the rapper, though. He is pretty awesome. That's not the point. Well, he was awesome. His most recent albums haven't really been all that good. So anyways, these are my mid-season power rankings for the 2013 WNBA season. Let me know what you thought about them in the comments below. And until then, I'm Nathan Lyle. This has been The Fan Perspective. Enjoy your Thursday.